I
Yeah,
need to
great.
recall for somebody else that I'll
Yeah,
use in another session.
yeah,
But
great.
yeah, these are well, these little sessions, and to be honest, any sessions where I'm kind of with people are kind of my favorite time, rather than my normal month to month, week to week, day to day management where I just beaver away and do things by myself. So
Yeah,
this part
yeah.
is always fun. I've got just those docs that I sent you, which
Yeah,
I'll share
great.
my screen, and we might just talk
Perfect.
through those if it's okay. Did
Mm,
you get a
yeah.
chance in your busy to just have a look at this stage,
I
or not
had a
really yet?
glance, and I'll be 100% honest. I wasn't actually sure exactly what I was looking for and looking
Perfect.
at, and it's not my forte. So I'm glad you're going to take me through them.
Okay, no, that's very consistent with when I usually do these, so that's
Yeah,
absolutely perfectly fine. And I think I would said to you when we sort of just spoke briefly on the phone, it's been really exciting because it's a really interesting business, your business. I've got some really. I finished up with four, albeit that one didn't proceed, and then that got replaced by a different one. But they're all very unique and really good businesses in their own
yeah,
right,
great.
which is awesome. Which the previous, because it's their second go at doing the Elevate program, and
Yeah,
yeah, the previous time they were fun people and good people that I worked with, but they were more hobby kind of businesses, and then the
right.
uptake of them was yeah, I don't think quite the same as these ones are a bit more juicy, so
Oh, that's
I'm kind of
good.
excited, which is
Yeah, well,
fun.
you don't get to pick them, I guess, so that's an added bonus.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, very good. So yeah, really, the first thing that I sent through and what we just talked through is just this what we call it. It's just a desktop social media or online and social media audit, if you like. And realistically, what we do in the first place is we just literally put in the name of the business, right? What comes up when we put in the name of the business? It's interesting, and so what we're looking for here. So clearly, the good thing for you that is you, right? So you
Yeah,
come out up as you when you put in
great.
your business, which is what you'd want to have.
Yeah,
Um, what we will create with you is a Google Business profile.
yeah.
So basically, and you just sort of say the area you service. Sounds
And
like
I
you,
feel like I've done one of those.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's coming up, but and if you
Okay, I
have,
don't
you
know
would
whether
just
I've
claim
clicked
it.
all the right
Yeah, yeah. So,
things.
and
Okay.
that's often the case. Is even when people do have them, sometimes if it's a bricks and mortar business, they've been given to people by Google, and so they actually haven't even claimed them, right? So, but as you said, other times
Mm,
people have had a go and then sort of half got there maybe, and we'll be able to
yeah,
look at that. But certainly,
okay.
what will happen is instead of these three coming up, which are probably government related, I imagine. That's the thing when you've got a business name like you have, sort of
Mm,
Centre for Mental Health Learning, Mental
yeah,
Health Research, and Mental Health Victoria. I imagine they're more government type businesses. Um, but yeah, you'll finish up with something similar to these, right? So,
hmm
and as you said, even if I click through, um,
yeah, that's me, the second one.
it is oh yeah, that is you there. So
Yep,
that's right. So I reckon well, that's interesting because it's not coming up as a red dot. So actually, probably what you haven't done is
because I
because
probably haven't put
even you
location
don't
on
need to have
because
a
I don't
specific
have.
location.
Okay.
You don't have to show your home address or wherever you're
Yeah,
operating
yeah.
at. You
Okay.
can just show a zone.
Yeah,
But
that'd be great.
again, it'll yeah, that is you, like you said. So the best
Yeah.
thing that we can do there is, we'll upload photos and all that sort of stuff. But what I was going to say, so yeah, that's the first thing. So as you said, it looks like there. It may well be that we just it's not showing you there, but it's basically you are down here, which is interesting. I just saw the three there and figured, oh, okay, well they're the same
Mm,
three, and it's not one of you. But realistically, we'll update and improve on that. So that'll be good.
yeah,
So it'll
great.
it'll make you coming up fundamentally, and you should, even though you would be a service area, it'd be interesting whether we possibly can't do direction. But yeah, we'll start. You'll have where people can give you. I'm imagining when you speak at schools and corporate and workplaces, that sort of stuff. That you do get reviews and that sort of stuff at times.
I need to get onto that because there is structured feedback that people
Yep.
give, but in terms of like improving my Google situation, I probably need to ask.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll
Yeah,
have
I
I'll
need to
give
do all
you
that.
and we'll have set little so with just so you know, when we go through and set up, so there's the six socials. So you'll put this map effectively. I'll just show you by way of an example. So I've got you up there, but so what we suggest to people is all the links and the social medias that we provide. We suggest you put them on the website.
Yep.
basically you're probably on a WordPress platform, I think, with this
I'm
website.
on, no, I'm on,
Squarespace,
no, the other one.
Wix,
Wix. I'm on Wix.
Wix.
Thank you.
Either way, they all give capacity to
Yeah, and I've got
add.
my icons down the bottom. I don't have them up the
Are
top.
they? Oh, yeah. So there's
They're
these
right at,
ones here. Yeah.
yeah,
Actually, I think I wonder if I made a. Yeah, that's how I initially sort of clicked through. Just actually do it. Yeah. So they're good. So they're clicking out to where we want them to click out to, which is good. Um, Often people will put them over the top of their website, and then you never get them back. So, yep. So those ones are all working how we want them to work. Um, and what I'd suggest is you would add in your Google map. So effectively,
ah,
we'd
yep,
use the
yep,
Google icon as well, and
yep,
that will then bring up. It's a way of then people can find out where you're operating in, what
yep.
area, but also that it's actually they
You can
can
get my
then give you
reviews.
reviews, that sort of
Yes,
thing
yeah,
as well, right? Write a
right.
review, that sort of stuff. But there's a specific review link you could send your participants and the people that have engaged you. So
Yeah.
we'll make sure that you have that and you're aware
Yeah,
of what that is. And
great.
clearly,
Yep.
with something like what you're providing, I imagine if they've got that link, and you could also send the Facebook review link. That's the other one. So you could
Ah,
send
yep,
both, and just depending on their preference,
yep.
and whether they want to leave it on there. And then the other thing is if you have got ones that you've received in the past, often what people will do is even if you had it as a tab under your about
Yeah.
testimonials, that sort
Yeah,
of stuff
I need to
potentially,
set that up.
if you've
Yeah.
got something along
Because
those
I've got
lines.
some like awesome reviews. I'm just like,
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
yeah, like I've got the feedback's really good. I've got all lots of written feedback, but it's like yeah, now I need to like do something with it,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it
Well, I think
useful.
then the best feedback or the best, if you're sharing other people saying how awesome you are, then that's a lot better than you saying how awesome you are. You know what? Or
And look,
if
I've
we
got
say it about
heaps of word
ourselves, you know
of
what I mean?
mouth. Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
heaps of word
that's
of
the
mouth
thing.
business, but I know I do need to, yeah, get organized with
So,
that.
so, and the advantage of then putting some of those testimonials, if you do have on a page, then we can then share them across, and repurpose them, onto the
Yeah.
other socials so people can go, oh shit, yeah, very good.
Yeah,
The other thing
great.
probably to say here is because of the nature of the business, um, see how in your case not only for you, but for everybody else, nothing is showing up around social, right? So, which is
Mm.
unusual,
Mhm.
right? So, I would imagine, but I think you've only just, is it, they're relatively recent, those pages, aren't they? Would that be fair to say? How long have you had Facebook?
Oh,
Um,
they're so recent, like
they're
the
so
last
recent.
couple of months.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So they've
Yeah.
probably not had time for sort of Facebook to almost index them, and there's not been enough activity. Because I think for your name, what often happens is the second most thing that comes up is often Facebook,
Yeah,
and then the
right.
next thing might be Instagram, depending on the business. Sometimes it can be Juliet's LinkedIn profile.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's interesting, and that will probably happen over time. Is what you will see for your specific name is
Mm.
that you will start to. So you've got a government department which are always going to throw a little bit of you never know how from an indexing
Yeah.
point of view. And
Yeah,
we
and
talk
look,
about yeah,
that's kinda not terrible because a lot of my business comes from Victorian schools using the mental health menu fund to fund
perfect,
my training within schools. So it's not
perfect.
terrible that that
No, no,
comes
no,
up, I've got to
exactly.
say.
No, you're right. So it's not like a mortgage broker that's got other mortgage brokers advertising over the top or whatever.
Yes.
But
Yeah, the government are not my competition, I gotta say.
no, so in professional services or any services, often though, they've sort of over the years, they've gone from almost being directory listed type things that would show up,
Mhm.
typically show up, to increasingly the social profile. So as I said, Facebook's, the Instagram. I was looking at one yesterday where they don't have any website, right? So clearly, if the only thing they've ever set up is a Facebook page, well, that's what comes up,
Yep.
right? So, or an Instagram page, particularly. And that was a jewelry business. There's certain businesses where you almost could argue that the social media tail is the dog rather than,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
most businesses, the
Yeah.
website is the dog and the social media is the tail, right?
Yeah.
So is that you kind of get to wag. Um, but yeah, so if we can, it's a professional website. There's plenty of info on there, plenty enough at least for me.
Mm.
We talked a little bit last time around imagery. If we can get some imagery that's probably got a bit of you
Yep.
an audience,
Yep.
that will be helpful. But in the first instance, it's not necessarily a setback, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So there'll
Yeah,
be
it
enough to
does.
put out. Um, I think we'd use just at the moment. I think you're using the icon. Uh, Sorry, with the logo with the name. I reckon we could probably get away with just using the icon on all your social channels as well.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then because usually they're going to have the name written underneath it anyway, right? So
Yep.
you don't kind of need to duplicate it, and it becomes really
Mhm.
hard to read when it's very small. I think
Yep.
it works well up here. Um, I I I there's an element of, because we've got this big picture, and because yes, you're telling us mental health education Victoria. I wonder if you have a just do it, that really explains. Down here, these are really good chunky bits of. Uh, Block, so I can find out and I can kind of dive in and get
Yep.
an understanding. And so again, great for me to share, and I can help educate people really what it is that you do and for whom. I wonder if there's something positioning wise, whether, and it might be in the about, I don't know, but about what you're bringing to training, by doing these. I mean, I guess you're basically providing that mental health. I mean, there is an element of it spoken in your name.
Mm.
um, I guess the thing is, it's training and workshops as much as anything, isn't it? Training
Yep.
and workshops. Yeah. So anyway, it's probably in any post that we do, every every post that we do will basically detail the fact that you provide training and workshops,
Yeah.
right? So we'll just reiterate that over and over. It's only when you've got websites where, oh, there we go. Look, it's just when I printed, I didn't see it. Engage, educate, empower. So just rewind. So that's when it's bad. It's just bad when you record things and then you go and realize that, in fact, you've already got that. It's sitting right over the top. Perfect. That will be something that we'll be using throughout your social media posting. Perfect. Anyway, we've sort of been taught to read websites top left, and that's, there's an argument, and that's kind of what I was looking for on my printed version, right? But you've actually got it over the people, so perfect. You're already positioning for me: engage, educate, empower. Running training and workshops. We top left, down, and up. So we need to scroll down a little bit more for these chunky buttons, but at the end of the day, they're nice and chunky, and they sort of, I'm assuming, relate to all these services, right?
Yeah.
And so mainly what I would be posting about is the services, about you, and if we can try and get some testimonial, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
um, I think there's enough, right? So I love that picture of you. That's great, great image. The other thing is top right is, around call to action. You've sort of, your only call to action really largely is inquire, and that's okay. But as I said, potentially even on the Wix templates, you could potentially have, what's the best way? How do you prefer people inquiry? Is it email, or is it the booking form? Is there a form when I
Probably,
click on that?
probably no. Probably email is the easiest way,
Yeah.
and there's that little form there.
So just because we're inherently lazy, if it's possible, I know on WordPress, and I imagine on Wix, it could be potentially, but you almost have that top template, even if you had your email up there.
And I'm happy for people to call. That's yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still get a lot of
yeah.
people just
It,
calling
it,
because they
it
still like the old phone.
you actually do have, you can messenger and chat on you there too, which is kind of cool, without even being the Facebook one. But anyway, realistically, just something to consider. That sort of social proofing, if you rely on people dragging down,
Yeah,
there is
and I
an
didn't
element. Yeah.
initially. I didn't want to put any socials up the top because I knew there was nothing there.
Oh yeah, true.
So I feel like once I've got something that well, I didn't want people to click and be like, "Well, there's nothing there."
And the reality is, you know, you've already got it down here. It looks to me like you'll be able to put the other three that we create in
Yeah,
here as well. You have got all your details that are on every page at the bottom of your page. So, and realistically, your email is there too. So it's functional. So that's the website. It's just about that social proofing that you, as a social business, realistically, that you
yeah,
can communicate with us on social. We don't necessarily want it to be our main go-to.
yeah.
I should have realised, if I'd done this page, that this didn't really print out the way it should. But I'm going to go and see you live rather than look at that. Give me one
Oh, and
second.
look, my personal profile, I may have blocked is my other worry if you
Really?
can't see it on
Okay.
on LinkedIn,
Um, I've just gone a
I
blank.
can
Your
unblock
surname
it.
is
Coin,
oh yeah,
Coyne.
you
Did
came
I put
up.
it on
No, there you
private?
are. So what you've
Well, there I am.
done is it just looks like you know, yeah. So it's in there.
Yeah, okay.
So what we just need to try and get you back is get access back on that. I imagine
And what
in
do I do in terms of like, I know, like, do we want people visiting my personal LinkedIn, or do we want them visiting the business LinkedIn?
well, the answer to that is, in my case, I do want them to get them visiting the business LinkedIn. But the
Yeah,
reality is, unless this is your calling card, right, nowadays. So effectively, this is like your live CV. So
yeah,
effectively, it's your business. This part is your business card, right? So
yeah,
that photo, you've already got an image that you'd use. It's the same image as you've got on your about page, right?
yeah, yeah,
You'd probably use a secondary image from the website. So at the moment, I'd be suggesting you use that same sort of lots of people sort of sitting. I know it's
yeah,
a stock image, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's the one that greets me when I go to your
yeah,
website.
yeah.
You might use a secondary image from the website in here, or you might just
Mhm.
use a happy place, or or something that's sort
Yeah,
of more about you know, health and well-being and that sort of
yeah.
stuff. But the thing is, here is literally your online business card nowadays,
Mm.
and what we have is the capacity to do, and it's never too late to start. But you would have heard that thing as your network is your net worth.
Oh, and I haven't, like, I have done I set it up ages ago. I've done nothing with
Yeah,
my
but something
LinkedIn,
like
and part of me was like, "Do I need to? Do I wanna open up that can of worms? Is it just
yeah,
full
yeah,
of
it's interesting.
stalkers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
professional
interesting.
stalkers?"
Yeah, so in this, i- um, from a LinkedIn, that would be probably a fairer call if you talk about Facebook.
Yeah.
But I think, and particularly when I'm working with people much older than yourself, right? So particularly when you get the sort of 45 pluses on and often I've been setting up, particularly the males, back in the day, not so much now, but often I'm setting them up for the first time, right, on Facebook, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you
yeah.
need to have a profile to be able to
Yeah.
have a business, to run a
Yeah,
business
right.
page, right?
Yeah, right.
But with those people, I kind of almost set them up where it becomes a little bit like I use Instagram. I kind of use Instagram as a bit of a crossover, and probably Twitter the same, where there's a bit of business stuff and there's a bit of family stuff.
Yeah.
But in my case, I must admit, on Facebook, I have a fun Steve that does way too many pictures of holidays and 7-year-old
Yeah.
son, and then I have a a LinkedIn Steve, if you like, Stephen, that I
Yeah.
kind of run.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn, what I was going to say is, and so I have a lot of connections that are really just that, right? So
Mm.
the reality is, in your case particularly, I don't know anybody that does what you do.
Yeah.
You could connect with 100 mortgage brokers because, yeah, they're all probably want you to get a mortgage through them. But at the end of the
Mm.
day, they're all potential people that may well, um, you know, I don't know, have people within the school system or within workplaces or
Yeah.
whatever that may well want to engage your services. So
Mm.
you've got potential to really, as a trainer and the work that you do, your profile in the main, on what I say to everybody, your profile, you just want to be the very best representative of your business
Yeah.
moving forward, right? So it is your calling card, and
Mm.
in my case, so I've got about, I don't know, 5,500 people I'm connected with, and every month LinkedIn enables me to invite 100 to 250 people to then follow my business.
Yeah,
So that's
right.
the advantage, right? So
Yeah,
that's
so
where,
I need, because it is a lot of business to business, I probably do need to get onto that, don't I?
yeah, well, we'll work.
Yeah.
You don't worry, we'll make you that happen. And then the
Okay.
thing around a LinkedIn profile, particularly, um, and in all the profiles, realistically, within that 3 hour sessions, by the time we're done, you're going to look as good as your website, if not better.
Great.
So
Thank you.
and it'll be fully
I need your help.
it'll be fully completed.
Yeah.
And here we basically say, you're a trainer, educator, you're a owner of the particular
Mm.
business, and then you would
Mm.
say what that business enables,
Mhm.
those three things, and how it enables those. So you've actually got quite a lot of stuff you can use to actually explain what's going on here, in terms of for your business. But
Yep.
yeah, no, I actually find it um, quite exciting when I get to tweak and update. But you will, yeah, for your case, it is just a public profile, but it's no different to your about page realistically, where you've got that same photo, So I would say it's not something to be, because you don't actually, the reality is you don't have to connect with people. There's certain elements that they'll be able to see, but you don't have to
Yeah.
connect with people you don't want to connect with.
Yeah.
Right. So if it is, and I my parameter around that. So in actual fact, one of the parameters, if someone tries to connect with me and they don't have a picture, I'm always a
Ooh,
little
it's
bit
a no
I'm a
no
little bit
deal.
sus. It
Yeah,
depends, right?
fair
If
enough.
you were to send me a picture, then I would say, oh, thanks for your, or a connect request. I'd say, oh, thanks for your connect request. It'd be great to see a photo of you, right? So we know,
Yeah.
so you don't look shady.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, right? So, and people don't. So at the moment, um, I think it's an interesting one, but yeah, you're going to. You must have at some stage had it, because it shows that you're actually part of. You did a
I
job.
know.
You did some.
Oh,
You sort of.
yeah.
You did a lot of work down here by the looks, and
Well, I
you've.
started to add things because I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, do I need to do something?" And then I just left it again. I'm
yeah. So it's
hopeless.
actually in the
Yeah.
best state, really. It's just we just
Okay.
zhuzh you and make you look
Yeah. I
all
need a bit of
star.
zhuzhing. Great.
Yeah. As I said, the main thing, and I know these are new, so it's good that you've created it. Sort of holds the name, that sort of thing. So, but I reckon we'll just use the icon. So really, here, this is where your icon will go, and here we would just use your same sort of image consistently across everything as your banner on your website. I reckon in the
Yep.
first instance, so that people know they're always dealing with the same business. And I
Yep.
think in your case, when you've got a name like Mental Health Education Victoria, you want to make sure that it is the same thing that
Yep.
I'm looking at here. Oh, that's Juliet's business.
Yeah.
And then clearly will be that'll be all the details will be in there. Largely, it'll be about why us, about us sort of information, and we put that in there, and we post to it every second day, basically. So same thing here: icon, banner image, all your about us complete. We'll knock off all the unnecessarily logos that we don't have. Um, then and again, you've kind of just put holding on all these, which is a little bit exciting, because as I said, it'll be really good to sort of get these really looking great, and having a sort of train tracks of what we roll out, every second day post and that sort of thing. So it's going to be fun, and you have at least put your website stuff in there. Um, Twitter will create as well, just because it is something that we can search, and particularly around government departments, it doesn't
Hmm.
hurt. The name will be available, albeit that we'll have to. Twitter only enables us have 15 characters, so we might just have to work out how we shorten your name.
Yep.
Your actual name can stay the same, so that
Yep.
can be as long as I think about 70 or something. But we just have to work out how we go.
15. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
many, is
with
it?
Mental Health Education Victoria.
Yeah, it's and you can't cut down the mental health too much.
Yeah,
Some but
that's
on
right.
some things I've had to say mental health edvic or
Yeah, yeah.
don't know.
It's an
Anyway.
interesting one in terms of mental health. Yeah, we'll work on it on the day.
Yeah, we'll
Mental
figure it out.
health. You could probably use your acronym MHEV
EV
underscore, um, and maybe then
or
you might do
MH
mental.
eduvic or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, have a think
Yeah.
about it. It's
Okay.
15 characters,
Yeah, 15. All
so
right.
we've got a bit of time before we need to. And really, it's not like locking in something you can't change anyway. But yeah,
Cool.
I often, so you can see someone. Actually, here's an interesting one. They see someone like this, Women's Health
Where's
Mental
mental health
Health
net?
Network Victoria,
Yeah.
and they've chosen to
Yeah, they've
go
used
with
the
the
acronym
acronym
VIC.
and then
Yeah.
Vic at the end, right? And that kind of works,
Yeah.
So I guess because you're always going to read the name above anyway, as I said.
Yeah.
So, and even something like Mental Health Vic, I don't know if that's government department. It may
So is
well
that
be.
15?
That's the
I wonder.
peak health, right? So
Yeah. So whether that's 50, is that mental?
I'm often doing that with my finger. What is that?
Menthvic. Oh, yeah, it's 14. They've squeezed it in there. Okay.
There you go. Now, the good thing about this sort of thing is, particularly with Instagram and Twitter, you can kind of look at who an organization that's the peak body. So I imagine you've got
Mm.
something to do with these people. Would that be fair to say? Do you know these people and have anything to do?
No,
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 but it'd be
no.
interesting depending on how long they've been on, and similarly with any government department or
Yeah,
any of
yeah.
these other ones. It'd be interesting to see
Yeah.
who they're following and just follow the same people
Yeah,
basically,
yep,
and then
yep,
get their attention.
yeah.
I didn't find that Google profile, but that's usually the map I'll put in here. And then we'll also create a YouTube channel for you, right?
Mhm.
And YouTube, um, whether or not you're going to finish up doing any
I've got
video.
some I've got some from Mental Health Education Victoria, who basically designed the courses I delivered. They've got some good promo videos that I could probably put on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, and so the benefit of having a YouTube is a it's a Google product, so it helps from a search, but also it's arguably the best landing page you can have. So if I click on a YouTube, right, and albeit I use a banner that's a bit blurry, but all my social media links are up the top here, right?
Mm,
And
mhm,
then, as you said, you can show subscribers in any videos and all that feature videos
mhm,
and that sort of stuff. And
mhm.
again, you can be following ones where you're getting that information from too.
Yep.
There is little hacks, but if they're sending you things, then great. We can,
Yeah, they've got some promo videos that are
put them
good.
on the Dropbox, and then we'll share them across. So yeah, so YouTube would be the other one. So I think that is them all. So I think the thing for yourself, there's a really, if I go down, I don't know if you saw, you probably didn't. This little infographic,
Oh, yeah,
right?
no, I saw that, yep.
Yep. So let me just make it so we just squeeze into this page, if that's all right. So yeah, so these ones down here are our our six socials,
Yep.
and they're the ones we sort of suggest having. So that's your Google
Mhm,
Map, your YouTube, which are both technically search platforms,
mhm,
but nowadays we can post to your Google business. So we
mhm,
post updates again at the same time as posting to Facebook. We're also posting to Google.
mhm,
And similarly, we're posting to your LinkedIn company, your Facebook page,
mhm,
Instagram, and Twitter.
mhm,
Albeit that Twitter has an abridged version, given you can only have so many characters, right?
mhm.
Having said that, we don't generally do long form posts, right? We generally do a sentence or two,
Mhm.
and then we would say something along the lines to learn more and inquire, visit,
Click here.
call,
Yep,
email, right?
yep,
So there's always a little call to action on any post.
yep.
But I guess this middle column is the strategy, right? So we take information from your website, we
Mhm,
repurpose it to the five
mhm,
social media sites. YouTube we don't can't directly post to, but so Google and these other ones, and
mhm.
then with the intent of getting them either back to the website or to pick up the phone or email you
Yep,
effectively.
yep.
Because at this stage, I mean, you may have events at times, so maybe times where they would go to a bricks and mortar, but in the main, it's going to be contacting you through whatever the traditional kind of methods are that you prefer. But that's the model, realistically, is to put it through socials where most people are hanging out
Mhm.
to get them to your website where they can find out more, right? So
Yep.
that's kind of the strategy. Um, so for most, as a business owner, and you've been running the training courses for how long? Did you tell me? I think you.
Oh, less than a year. It hasn't been long, hence why I haven't set things up and got
Yeah, so
organised,
it's
Steve.
pretty new. Yeah, so
Yeah.
but but it doesn't look like it's from what your steps in terms of just looking at that career path, it's sort of stepped out, right? So
Oh, yeah, like
is
long-term educator and
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So what we try and show here is just that often when people think about marketing, they only think about communications, which is where social
Mm,
media sits. But
mm,
ultimately, you need to have um, the business and marketing strategy for the business of where you want to
mhm,
take it.
mhm,
And clearly, for instance, the people that you're talking to and who engages you and how they engage you, ultimately, that's probably as important because I imagine a lot of your stuff has happened, as you said, through either repeat or schools
yeah,
telling you about
yeah.
them and that sort of thing.
Mm,
So,
mm,
um, so effectively, again, what's important for us is knowing who the customer is.
yeah.
That's generally going to enlist your services,
Mhm,
knowing that you've got a good offer. The training
mm,
courses that you do,
mhm.
certified or
Yep,
whatever they are,
yep,
and what makes you unique. And as you said, that background that you've had through training
yep,
and educating. You might have heard the word content marketing. Content marketing is just the words you use
yep.
and the images. And we know on social media um, that real, even stock image reel. is
Yep.
much better than stuff we put on print or on it.
Yeah.
So that sort of stuff typically sort of says, it's not very relational, um, and so to a degree, when it's heavily graphicked,
Mhm.
people people when they're seeing it in a news feed tend to think, oh, are they trying to sell me something here? Right. And I don't think we
Mm.
want to be sold. Facebook didn't let more than 20% graphic but in the past on any ads. Nowadays
Mm.
they do. It doesn't mean you should. There's that
Yeah,
element
okay.
of people go, resist it, right? So we do use Canva for maybe one post a week where we'll have a template for you at least,
Yeah, yep.
and that might be talking about key services, or it might be for reviews and testimonials.
Yep.
But in the main, we try and use real images that look like the
Mhm.
people you talk to.
Yep.
Yeah, so that whole "what's in it for me" sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And we can get that from free sites if you don't have them. So we'll typically go to Unsplash, that sort of stuff. But certainly use it maybe as a bit of a, particularly given you're early on in the services as well, as something that just in future when you're doing all these, it sounds like you've got plenty going on. Take some photos, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Take some short video, if you
Yeah,
can, right? Because
yeah.
let's face it, video shorts can be 10 seconds. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yep. No, and I do really need to give myself a good talking to about reminding myself to do it.
Oh, look, I've
Absolutely.
got no doubt that, as I said, it just becomes a little bit part of the habit, right? So,
Yes,
and if you can get
yes,
into that little bit
indeed.
of a habit, then
Yep.
it'll work. So, um, and then yeah, as I said, social media sits up here. Clearly, you've got email and however else you typically get your work and communicate.
Mhm.
Other people are using newsletters or whatever it might well be, SEO potentially. But yeah, social media is kind of a powerful part. I typically distinguish between organic posting. So, in other words, Monday, Wednesday, Friday posting, which gets seen by the people that are following you and or their friends, that sort of thing,
Mhm.
is organic, if you like. So we're not putting any money on that by
Mhm.
comparison to promotion. So often,
Mhm.
um, in the first instance, when we work with people, we'll look at, say, even a $5 a day spend
Mhm.
just to get that awareness of you. So
Yep.
we'll split it for awareness and traffic. Usually,
Mhm.
is we'll say, okay, this is what we provide, why us, sort of stuff,
Yep.
and this is where you can find out more.
Yep.
So
Great.
and inquire, right? So
Mhm.
so it's worth, certainly in the time that we work together, we'll create, in that session we create saved audiences to work out
Mhm.
who it is that you'd want to target. So we find them,
Yep.
so maybe they're principals or school,
Mm.
involved in school,
Mm.
that sort of thing.
Mm. Yep.
Maybe they're HR in the
Yeah. There's a
workplace.
lot of that, the
Yeah,
HR. Yep.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
it is a bit of a sand. What do you say? No, I was going to say a sandcastle. It's a haystack, I would say. It's still a
Yeah, right.
haystack. You've got to try and work out how big you want your haystack to,
Yeah.
because yeah, typically, and for you, you might split it if depending on how much you're doing in the regions and how much you're doing sort of in Melbourne.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, you kind of want to have a haystack that you can ultimately get to. So there's no point having 4 million, but then it might ultimately, if you're spending $5 a day, it might take you 10 years to get to them all.
Yeah.
Whereas, if we create a relatively tight, HR slash school
Mm.
type
Mm.
person, and
Yeah.
we have, say, 200,000, well,
Yeah.
we might know that we can get to them in 3 to 6 months potentially. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yep.
Who knows? So
Okay.
that's something just to be aware of. But anyway, that's part of. I've talked about this little section. On the right hand side, we know that less than 50% of people actually have any social media. That usually means they've
Mhm.
got a Facebook page. If they've got a Facebook page, less than 30% have ever spent a dollar on it. And now, what we kind of know with Facebook is that they're very ungenerous when it comes to organic algorithm,
Mhm.
particularly say with a new page like yourself. One of the things I'd really be encouraging you to do, if you're anybody that wants Juliet to do well in business,
Mhm.
invite them to follow the page. Now you can
Yep.
wait till we're working together and we've
Yeah.
got some activity going on there,
Yeah.
but
And that's
ultimately,
what I was. Like, I
yeah,
literally haven't even put this out to my
exactly. Just
friends and
hold off at
family
this
to follow
stage.
or join because
Yeah,
I'm like, let's yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I needed
exactly.
you to weigh in
Yeah, yeah.
before I was gonna be like, "Hey, look at this."
Yeah, because all I was going to say, because even if, let's say, you've got 100 people ultimately in the first instance following the page,
Yep.
even on a good day, on a good post, depending on how long you leave it between the next post,
Mhm.
10% might be a good outcome, 10 people seeing
Yeah.
it. So Facebook's
Yep.
not very generous. But as I said, as soon as we spend $1, and particularly since COVID, their
Mm.
generosity level is raised, right? So,
Interesting.
so,
Okay.
so $5 a day, just for a basic rule of thumb,
Yeah.
generally will attract up to 10,000 eyes a
Mm.
month.
Yep.
So $5 a day, 10,000 eyes a month,
Mhm.
and 10 to 15 for a business like yours, and
Mm.
probably and I'm splitting this, by the way. So five
Mm.
dollars a day, where you'd put maybe $2.50 or $3 towards awareness, so getting
Mhm.
people to see it, and then you'd have a website address where they can click through, and you might get 500 plus people actually going through to the website per
Okay.
month
Yeah,
as well. So
interesting. All right.
that's usually what it comes around ad spend. So anyway, yeah, so it puts you in a minority of people that are using in a way to attract. So not only to get sort of retain business, so those people,
Mhm.
it's almost proofing you,
Yep.
but also to get some new business as well. And then, like any good marketing, what does it cost? In your case, you got the grant, so you don't have to worry too much about this. But
Yeah, great.
set up and planning, that's usually around about 1,000. Management is usually, well, under 300 a month,
Mm.
in what we're sort of applying for the grant. And then
Mhm.
it's only the ad campaign now that you'd want to consider. And as I said, while
Yep.
you've got me particularly,
Yep.
I would sort of, we'll make sure you've at least got the saved audience, but I would have a
Yep.
little bit of a go, so not
Yeah.
not immediately. You don't have. I'm not saying we charge into it pre-Christmas, but I'm
Mm.
saying I will create something that would be ad worthy,
Yeah, great.
so that early in the new year we can give that a go, and set
Yeah,
that
that
off,
sounds good.
and we can
Yep.
see how that flies. So yeah, that's that. So really, today's, well, firstly, you possibly saw this, but the main objectives of doing any social media: protect your brand online
Yep.
effectively, differentiate you from any competitors, and
Mhm.
that's you and yourself. Be top of mind with the people you want to be top of mind with,
Mhm.
and ultimately increase the business, right? So
Yep.
that's what you want to get having through. Um, I talk about how we do that today. As I said, that's part of the, doing that audit, talking through what we're going to do, and then really the next stage, when we can, is just having that sort of setup and planning session, right? So
Yeah, great.
the setup session takes us around 3 hours. It's a
Mhm.
bit of a blurry, sort of depending on how long it takes us, but it's a 5 hours sort of day where we spend up to 3 hours on the setup, and then a
Mhm.
couple of hours on connecting and looking at ads, and
Yep.
how and what we might do there, and then what are we going to say, when are we going to say it, sort of thing. So
Yep.
that's what that session's about. And then realistically, you're on this extra small sort of every second day, which will mean you'll get a report in terms of how you're going.
Yep.
In fact, for you, that would probably be first week of February.
Mhm.
Depending on when we get started, but
Yep.
I'm just working off, that's when it's due for others as well. So
Yep.
current clients. So yeah,
Yep.
so that's
Great.
it.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Oh, good. Any questions or
I
feedback
don't think
at this
so.
stage?
I don't think so. No, look, that all sounds what I need, to be honest. It's very, very good timing. Um,
Yeah, I
and now
feel
it's
like
probably
you are
just finding that
probably,
that
yeah,
day.
I agree. I reckon you're, of the four, you're really well positioned to sort of just kind of um, create it and turn it on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
really,
great.
really just have that now working with the website that you've got as well. And yeah, you're really well placed to really, I think, kick some goals in the first few months of 2023, which is going to be fun.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm
So yeah,
excited.
yeah. So all we need to work out is when your busy schedule. You said some dates. Now it doesn't have to be as early as what you were sort of saying. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
as far as the 5 hour session, um,
Mm.
I would say the next time I'm really in a position to sort of look at that would be whatever that Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is, in the new year, which is probably
Yep.
from the fourth or something along those lines.
Yep.
So actually, yep,
So
I've got it here. Yeah, so it would be probably, yeah, I would say probably from the first would be maybe the 5th of Jan the 6th of Jan is the Friday or the following week, realistically. So
Yeah,
if there's
fifth
times
fifth
and
or
days,
sixth works for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go with the 5th day. That's the
Okay.
Thursday. So that
Yep.
would be I reckon that would be great. 6th of Jan. Yeah, I was actually talking in terms of, we're not going to fly before Christmas. Well, we're not even going to have set it up before Christmas. I've actually got
No,
two of them are setting up
that's
next
not a
week, which
year.
is kind of
Oh,
interesting.
oh
So
Lord.
yeah, so
No,
it
no,
suited them,
thank
and as
you.
I said, I'm kind of
Yeah.
in the right headspace coming back,
Yeah,
having had
okay.
my break already. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. No, that works for me, the 5th.
beautiful. Let's go with the 5th. I'll send you. I think I've probably possibly already invited you into base camp, but yeah,
Yep. Oh,
what?
yes, yep.
Just so you understand, I could turn this stop screen share off actually.
Is it
Uh,
easier to do it in person?
uh, I would say nowadays probably not.
Okay, fair
Only
enough.
because I look over your shoulder. What I will do actually before we jump off, just at the bottom, because this is working okay, right? So really,
Yeah.
otherwise, I do become a little bit like a school teacher standing behind people, and
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's
and
fair enough.
yeah, and uh, what I would say is at the bottom here, it's got share. Just see next to Mike. Just try
Yep.
sharing your screen. Just go entire screen. There we go. And then click away from it. So basically click on another tab up the top maybe. There you go. So effectively, what we do is we open your website up, we open Basecamp up, where I've got a check. I'll have given you a checklist. We'll
Yeah.
open all your social medias up, including the ones that we create new,
Mhm.
and we just create those, and I just talk us through. Right. So again, we record it, and we've got the sort of how we did that all the way
Yeah,
through as
cool.
well. So both
All right.
sessions get recorded as well.
Yeah,
So
great.
it seems to me like your settings on your computer, which is never guaranteed, are already perfectly set up for online calls. So
Okay, cool.
yesterday I had one where it was not yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, where it was, and we couldn't work out how to turn off. I was getting my own voice back in my ears, and
Oh.
who knows that listening to yourself talk, it just
Oh,
makes
yeah,
me
it's not good,
cringe.
is it? Nah.
So
Nah.
I much prefer to know that. Well, yeah. Anyway,
That's all right.
but
So
this
what
is
time suits on that day, Steve?
Um, well, we did 10 o'clock today. Do you? Are you
Yeah, I'm happy to start at 10. That's
10
fine.
10 suit?
I'll just need to find a spot that's I might even actually go somewhere else for the day just because it's school holidays. You don't want to
Well,
listen to
the
three
the other
kids
thing
and
that you could do if you wanted to, um, you could use it as I work out of iHarvest a couple of times. The only thing is I would say is if you normally work from home
mm,
and are you on you're on a laptop though probably,
yeah.
so you just
I've got
pick
a
up
I've
your
got a
laptop.
second larger screen though.
Yeah, so and I think that's often so it's wherever you're more comfortable. So it's whether you would if you were going to go and work from somewhere else, would you take your
Mm,
second large screen or no? Yeah, so when I
probably
go to
not.
iHarvest, I have my fruit box. It looks like it's funny, people see me walking in and they often say, "Oh, you're coming back after COVID." And then when they
Oh,
see me walking out, I think they
oh,
think
because you
I'm
take your screen,
yeah,
your
yeah,
big
I
yeah.
I have my box of goodies and go in and out.
Yeah.
But but I mean, I'll leave that up to you. But I mean, an option could be if you wanted to, and you could probably do it for free. Is you could use iHarvest
Yeah,
if you
so is
want.
that like a local
iHarvest is actually it's at Sunshine, so Brimbank Council.
ah,
It's on the
ah,
fourth level there. Yeah,
yeah,
so
okay.
but that's a co-working
Oh,
space. You
yeah,
could
right.
probably it might sound a bit funny. I mean, if I think I've even done it. It might have been one of my colleagues that was setting up. There is a meeting room there, right? So, but
Yeah,
you could
because I
almost,
could go into the office at work.
yeah,
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I'll have a think.
yeah. Well,
See what I'm doing with my life
yeah, no,
next year.
my, I, as you said, I don't know about you. So I think by the 6th, at least holiday program with the school is back. So I think I'm going to be free
Yeah.
of
Oh,
my
it's got to
kids,
be
which will
very
be good.
strategic,
Yeah,
doesn't it, in
yeah,
the school
that's right.
holidays?
Um,
It can be a long month and a bit.
but as you said, you have a think about it.
Yep.
But I think either way, even if we were both in iHarvest, I still think I'd do it like this, and you can just
Yeah,
set yourself,
interesting. Yeah, okay.
and you can
That's
still
good to
set up.
know.
You can
Yep,
set up in the meeting room, and I'll just set
yep.
up in my
Okay,
in my space where I normally work out of, and then I can
okay.
come in, but in between. Now,
Yeah,
so I feel almost 100% guaranteed. Where sometimes, as I said, with some people are slightly more challenged by the particularly around technology, not so much the socials,
yep.
and so then there can be a little bit of advantage being in the same place. Um, but I have zero doubt that that's not going to be the case for yourself. So
Oh, you're
I think this
very
is a much
kind.
I
I
think this is
try
a much
hard, but
better
I
this is a
wouldn't call
much
myself
better
a
format
whiz.
for us in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of
That makes
just
sense.
being able to talk it through and go through.
Yeah,
Yeah, but so I'll do a calendar, and
yeah.
it'll
Great.
be much the same as we'll
Yeah,
do a 10. We'll make sure it's locked in, and Thursday the
perfect.
5th would be great. That it'd be
Sounds like a
interesting. We'll
plan.
have a nice 2 weeks in between then and now.
Yes, I need to degas from the year, I think, before I sort of regroup and start again. It's been a
Is there a
year.
last wind down sort of lunch or
Oh, look,
something that you get to
no,
do?
there's not. I'm doing a country Victoria trip on this Sunday, training on the Monday. I'll be back for the kids' last day of kinder and school and whatever on the Tuesday.
Yeah,
So I think it's more, hopefully that Wednesday will be my last day, and then I
yeah,
can just
yeah.
fall in a heap
Just
and worry about what I'm meant to be bringing for Christmas lunch and all those sorts of things.
Well, it's you're in that really interesting space. Well, I'm sure that mentally, physically, spiritually, you'll spend um a good 10 days, hopefully, just with
Yeah,
the kids and the family, and
yeah.
just
Oh, it'll be
feel
good.
really good going into the next
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah, yeah. Look, just need to change gears, I think, for a week. But
yeah,
that'll happen and I'll be super refreshed and ready to go on the 5th.
yep, awesome. Well, we'll see you then,
Yeah,
and
wonderful. Looking forward to it.
yeah, it's going to be great. I am too. It's going to be really fun. So
Awesome. Thanks for your time today.
thanks, Juliet. You
I'll
too.
see you
Have a
then.
good, safe journey over the next couple of days,
Yes,
and
thank you.
we'll see
Thank
you after the
you.
break.
Okay, great. See you then.
See ya.